once that order was issued, the court received a voicemail, which we had preserved, and I believe the council had given her a copy of it. No, you did. Ms. Norris had requested a copy, and Mr. Mangrum, if you would like a copy of the voicemail, you are certainly free to have one. We'll make one for you as well. All right, we'll get you one also. And in this voicemail that was left on the Sixth Circuit Court's answering machine, again, it is replete with obscenities and some accusatory statements directed to the court and to officials of the court and other judges. I need to preface this, frankly, as far as I understand that it is your perception that you have been treated unfairly by Warren Properties and by the court system. And as a result, you have expressed a very significant amount of anger in your pleadings. It's very clear and evident to me that that's happened. And I understand it is frustrating and sometimes infuriating to be involved in lawsuits, even if you've got a lawyer for you. It can be tough. But, man, I ordered you to come to court today, and I want to give you this opportunity here in a moment to explain to me what in the world possessed you to leave such a voicemail on the answering machine of the Sixth Circuit Court. If a lawyer had done that, I would have no choice but to immediately refer them to the Board of Disciplinary Counsel for sanctions, suspension, possibly disbarment. I need to afford you an opportunity to tell me what happened, I'm just befuddled. 30 years plus I've been judged. Never have I received anything remotely similar to what you left on this voicemail. So if you would please step up the podium, now's your time to tell me what's going on.
Well, the reason why I left the voicemail is because I have been filing motions and pleadings since May the 8th that have gone ignored and non-responded to, and I have a recording also of Judge Binkley telling me that he doesn't respond to motions when I brought the issues up about my pending motions that I filed that you saw that have been on the record. In the meantime of me filing all these motions, and I'm not an attorney, and I am a person with a disability that suffers from a documented mental illness that, you know, my landlord was aware of, and it's my source of income to pay rent. And being that I had provided as much proof and evidence of my counter complaints to their claims of unlawful detainer, they were all being ignored. So at this point, I had also been evicted wrongfully while my claims were still pending. None of my defenses have been heard, even though I've got abatement notices from Metro Building Code saying that the unit was unfit and they need to make repairs. So at the time that I left the message, it was pretty much my response to you not giving me the opportunity to have a video hearing on the 8th, and I had requested that on the 6th of May. And I didn't get a response from anybody about my request. And I wanted to have the hearing because I wanted to explain all of the things that was going on up before, you know, up to now. But I wasn't given that opportunity again. So at this point, I'm like, they've denied my right to be heard through motions and writing. They've denied my right to be heard on a video conference. They've illegally evicted me using a void judgment. It's clearly void on the face of it, but nobody's speaking up and saying anything about all of their violations that I have argued in my motions. Considering I'm not an attorney, I am pro se, I should have some leniency when it comes to how my pleadings are interpreted by the court. But the court should not just be ignoring them, and then for Judge Binkley to threaten to put me in handcuffs just because I pointed out that the other attorney Jason Mangrum did not prepare the order that he requested on September the 20th. That caused them to dismiss the case wrongfully. They had to reinstate it and strike that from there. A whole bunch of confusion, only for them to turn around and say, well, your motion to dismiss that you filed was not properly before the court, but the record does not reflect that. And then none of my arguments are heard, and then I'm evicted while all of my arguments are still pending. They filed another unlawful detainer before they even dismissed this. And these are all violations that, according to the rules of professional responsibility and stuff too, and all of these rules, but nobody's saying anything. And so if I can't come into the court and be heard fairly, I've lost my right to my housing, I'm homeless. At this point, I have nothing left. I've tried to be respectful. I tried to use manners. I was raised well. It's just that when you are put in a position to where everything that you have to present a clear argument, considering I'm not an attorney and nobody's offering me any reasonable accommodations, that are available, what do I do when I'm homeless? I'm wrongfully evicted. My child is separated from me again. This is something that people should not be okay with. And it's not like Warren Properties doesn't have a history of this. There's several court cases of them discriminating against people with disabilities. And the record alone shows so many violations on their behalf, and I'm just wondering why those have not been addressed before we're talking about my contempt of the letter that came behind me not getting a notice of you continuing my summary judgment motion. I filed an objection to it being transferred to you. That didn't get addressed. I think all those things should be addressed before we talk about why I sent the message. I sent the message because y'all have pushed me and pushed me and pushed me by ignoring me and taking my right to housing from me. I'm a human for one, but I am a person with a disability, and the symptoms of my disability are under a lot of pressure, such as being wrongfully evicted and mistreated by the court, threatened with handcuffs for speaking up about something that they didn't do. That should have been a sanction. That's not appropriate, and the judges are also required to show respect, from what I read. And I didn't get that. I got threatened with handcuffs for just pointing out what went wrong, that the record shows. So, yeah, I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way, but I do want to be respected just as well as anybody else. If you can see the motions that I filed up until that last one that I sent, that was an email actually, I didn't use profanity in any of them. Check it out. It was the email and the voicemail. But everything else from
You're saying there's no profanity in the voicemail?
No, I said in the email and the voicemail. You said that in the order, right? Ain't that what you referred to?
Right. There's an email that Warren Properties has moved to strike.
That had profanity about how I felt about me in the courts.
Last time I checked, the F word is an obscenity.
I didn't say it wasn't an obscenity. I'm saying that besides those two items, everything else on the record that I found did not have any obscenities.
To my knowledge, I think you're correct.
Right. So I'm just saying that.
My question is, why'd you do those? Well, right now, why did you leave a voicemail for my court?
Because your court was ignoring me, sir. I've been trying to, that was my hearing date for the date, and I didn't get notice of the continuance until after. I don't know how to respond to you all. I'm being told by the presiding judge that y'all don't respond to motions.
Why did you use obscenities in the voicemail? Why did you,
I was angry and hurt, and I felt like you all were just ignoring my right to due process. I could not be heard through motions without profanity. I could not be heard through a video, and I just said all this. And like I said, I am a person with a disability. I'm human, for one, and nobody should have to be removed from their housing when all of this evidence shows that it wasn't legal. The default judge, I've had so much stuff done to me illegally, and nobody's saying anything about it, but it's all in the motions. And that's why I'm saying I think we should review those before we talk about how. And it will give you an understanding of what led me to be angry. Put yourself in my shoes and look at all of the things that I'm having to do just to have the right to housing, fair housing, that I was paying for until the codes came in and pointed out, I'm doing it the way I'm supposed to. You're supposed to give them 2 weeks notice, let them know, look, this is a violation, need to be fixed. If you don't fix it, I'm withholding rent, I'm calling codes. All this is documented. But I get evicted using a warrant that has a date of a hearing of November the 20th of 2020. That date ain't even came yet. On top of that, they put, if it was November the 20th, a judgment didn't get entered against me on November the 20th of 2019. I appeared in general sessions. They didn't. They reset it. They've always been the ones to reset and reset and reset, not me. But it's funny that my claims are the only ones remaining, but it's like they're getting all of the benefits because they're attorneys. Well, I'm not an attorney, and I shouldn't be held to the same standard, but I should have my motions respected and heard by the court fairly without just jumping to, well, why did, after me, basically the way I'm taking it, you've dealt with all this triggering since May the 8th of 2019. Why now do you cuss us out? Everybody has a breaking point, sir. Like I said, I'm only human. And I've showed through several motions. I have the ability to communicate without using profanity. But when I realize that the people that I'm trying to respect no longer respect me, why do I owe you any more respect? That's how I feel, because you're not even responding to my fact that they didn't have jurisdiction, they didn't serve me properly. None of this should have happened. But I'm supposed to just remain calm and, respectful to people that don't respect me. And that's just not how I see things. Maybe it's a little warped, but that's just, to me, I feel like we should address some of my motions, since my claims are the only ones pending, before we start talking about why did you leave a threat. And it wasn't threatening, it was just profanity. So if you hold me in contempt for expressing my feelings about how I feel about how I'm being treated, I don't know what to say. And that's where we are. I don't know if that answers your question, but my motions have argued over and over, and I'm just repeating myself. I'm tired of repeating myself, and I've lost everything in the middle of repeating myself, and nobody's even took the time to actually read my motion. Binkley did the first day I came in there, and he accused me of not writing my own motion. It's a recording of all of this. It's a recording of him threatening me to put handcuffs on me. It's a recording of him telling me he went across the street to get default while we were in Binkley's court. No, I ain't saying anything about any of it. That's an ex parte meeting, right? And then for us to get it dismissed because it wasn't valid, I'm having to do all of this myself. I don't have an attorney, and then I end up evicted. That's where we are. But as I say again, I'm a person with a disability, and as a reasonable accommodation, I feel like somebody should appoint me an attorney. If you feel like my motions or what I've said is something that you feel like this is going to be a pattern or something, well, help me out here, because all I'm trying to do is get some resolution and some justice. That's all.